Angela Oakley is calling out Shemia in the comments section, addressing the very last scene of The Real Housewives of Atlanta's latest episode where Shemia says her beef with Porsha ain't her fight.
All right, girl.
So Angela has a response for that, and Angela, of course, is clearing up rumors yet again in a new interview about the Wendy Williams story in regards to Charles Oakley having a side baby on her. Not only that, she's talking about having no allies and her concerns for the reunion.
Here we go now.
Welcome back to the Kempire channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. So this past week, we recapped the latest episode of The Real Housewives of Atlanta, and we had a lot of strong opinions, including those of you that called in when it comes to Shemia. A lot of you love Shemia from the first episode, calling her the glue, saying that she should have had her peach a long time ago. And there's nothing wrong with that. Some of you still might feel that way. However, Shemia has been getting a lot of backlash when it comes to how she handled the Porsha situation. When Porsha said, I should sleep with Charles Oakley. Well, I feel like Shemia has felt the pressure so much that she's now responding in the comment section. But before we get to that, during the conversation during their national trip, the women said that there were rumors that Charles Oakley has another woman in New York City, had a baby on Angela Oakley, and Angela is addressing that in this new interview with the Vile File, saying, where are your receipts? That's not true. We talked about this in a previous video, but we're going to talk about it yet again.
Wendy Williams' story.
Yeah.
I think the story is the reason I was cast. Because I feel like it just gives so much drama. But that's not the case. Charles did not have a side baby. We can clear that. And Wendy Williams and I had a conversation that just went left. I gave her some unsolicited advice.
Are you able to share what that advice was?
I told her, maybe she should stay with her husband. And I know he had a baby on her, but I just thought I was the biggest Wendy fan. And I felt like now's my chance. I saw her in a private event and I just went up to her. If Charles knew I did this ahead of time, he would have just kicked me out the party. Because me and my big mouth. So I was like, now's my time. I snuck over to her and I was just like, Wendy, it's just the baby. And she went off. That's why I'm like, the fans are defending Wendy. Wendy went off on me herself. So it wasn't like Wendy was just sitting there. She was like, get the F away from me. And she was just like, has that ever happened to you?
No.
Oh, Wendy went off. I have not lived this day down in my life. Like, this is one of my worst moments because now I'm thinking back. I'm like, that was Wendy Williams. Like, who the heck do you think you are to give her unsolicited advice?
What was Charles' reaction when you told him you did that?
Well, he didn't know. He only got the reaction of me just being oh my God, Wendy just cussed me out. And he was just like,
Angela, I just want to say, first of all, thank you for sharing that story. Second of all, we all have a story in our life about just like, I don't know, just kind of being out of body and doing something where we were like, what the f was that? But walking up to Wendy Williams and saying, it's just a baby was a crazy thing to say.
And it grew legs. And I'm sitting at home eating my bonbons and she's on her show. Like, I saw Charles and I'm just flabbergasted because here I am just a regular civilian and my name is splashed on her show. And you know what? She did what I would have done too. Like, if you're bold enough to say this to me, I'm going to put some juice on it. I'm going to put some sauce on it. I'm going to make it juicy because you done lost your mind. And that's what Wendy did. So she gave me what I deserved. She added that I said he had a baby on me. It was not Charles Oakley. No, it was my oldest daughter's father who,
Is that kind of why whenever Britt brought it up at Cynthia's party that you were kind of like, what? Like, you kind of didn't really have this like, oh my God.
I was like, you better have receipts.
Yeah. You
Where are your receipts? Because we're not going to bring rumors to the table because there's enough to go around for everybody.
Yeah.
So I was just like, you better have receipts. And of course, the only receipt they're going to pull up is the Wendy Williams video.
Yeah.
So that's not the only thing that Angela had to say during her interview with the Viall Files. She's talking about what she's expecting at the reunion. And very much like what I said during our recaps, I think the reason why that Angela is feeling so alone is, and the reason why she's aligned herself with Drew is because she has no other allies in this group. But Angela, you are definitely holding your own, despite not having allies and despite everyone coming for you. And it looks like, based off of what Angela says here, they continue to come for her, including Phaedra Parks.
It's not just your first season, it's going to be your first reunion as well. And just like you said, like there's filming the season and watching it, but the reunion is a whole nother beast. Going into it, who in your cast do you want to address the most, or get to the bottom of anything? And is there also someone in your cast that you're worried that might be coming for you?
I think all of them are going to come for me. I don't feel like I have any allies. I hope that I'm wrong, with the exception of Drew. I hope that I'm wrong. I don't see any inroads to saying, hey, Angela may have been right. Like, I don't see any inroads to support. And so I don't know where that.
I just have to pause it there because this sounds so familiar to Garcelle at the reunion, where she felt like she had no allies. She felt like no one gave her grace. No one wanted to hear her side. No one could see her side. And she sounds hurt in this situation. And Drew, as we saw from this last episode, it didn't feel like Drew was actually showing up for Angela the way that Angela has shown up for Drew.
If that's going to show up. However, I only have my intentions on clearing up some things that happen at the finale. And that happens with Phaedra when she comes. So they can come for me. I'll just be blocking and blah, 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 blah.
Because you and Porsha ended on a good note at Cynthia's party. So something else happens in the second half of the season.
I feel like she tagged in help.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that help that she tagged in was Phaedra Parks. So we have Porsha, who has no storyline this season, and Phaedra Parks clearly has no storyline based off of the preview of the midseason trailer, where she's bringing Check from Married to Medicine in for this season of Real Housewives of Atlanta. So, of course, when you have no storyline and you are and have been accused of masterminding plots and plans and storylines on other people, it's not shocking that Phaedra Parks is returning doing the same thing. Bravo. I don't know what you were thinking with this season 16 of Real Housewives of Atlanta. A lot of your moves have just been blowing up in your face. Speaking of blowing up in your face, Shemia, who was a star at the beginning of the season, is facing a lot of backlash and a lot of people turning on her. And now she's responding in the comment section of the Neighborhood Talk. But Angela Oakley has a response for her as well. So shout out to our friends over at the Bravo Shade Room who caught this and highlighted this on their page. So Shemia says this in response to the backlash and the clip of the conversation between Angela Oakley and her during this week's episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta. Shemia says this: damned if I do, damned if I don't. I learned the hard way that I need to mind my business. I apologize about laughing and my part in it. Well, based off the conversation, we didn't see an apology. We saw you making excuses, but okay. She says, that's not my fight. And I said, it's not your fight until it is. Married woman with a man that is very similar to the man that your best friend married, in regards to African, rich, doing well for themselves in Atlanta. If Angela Oakley can forgive the person that actually said it, then surely my laughter can or should be forgiven. Did she really forgive Porsha? I don't think she really forgave Porsha. I think she just was sort of, I accept your apology, but I see you. I mean, knowing Taurus says, I accept your apology, but I see you. Shemia continues, I've never said that it was okay for her to say that. Did you say that in the conversation? I just saw you making excuses. She's like, but it was a good key. Furthermore, I don't have to publicly chastise people. I can hold them accountable privately. Bottom line, she's a grown woman, not my problem, not my fight.
Girl. This girl is delusional.
Do we think that Shemia actually privately corrects Porsha? I mean, based off what we've seen with Porsha and the people that are around Porsha, including her mother and her sister, ain't nobody correcting Porsha. Porsha is surrounded by yes people, and Shemia I don't know how you've allowed yourself to, after what we've seen over the years with you and Porsha, how you've maintained a friendship with this woman. But fine, that's your choice. So Angela, because she was tagged, literally Shemia tagged her in the comment section, Angela responds and says, if my memory serves me correctly, you didn't apologize for your part. She said, you didn't apologize for your part until Porsha's event, which I accepted. At the Bailey Q, you actually doubled down and said that you didn't see anything wrong with your response, bringing up jokes about your uncle, which was cringy. Shemia had a few cringy moments in this week's episode. She says, hence the end of the conversation. It's actually okay. I misjudged and had a higher expectation for you. Now, this is an old nasty read right here. Again, I move different with my friends. It's perfectly fine. I now understand. So here's the thing. Do I think that Shemia had to publicly chastise Porsha for what she did? No. However, would I be laughing and kikiing and twerking at the poolside with Porsha saying, maybe I'll sleep with Charles?
That is funny.
And I know Porsha has said that she has never slept with a married man, which is a lie, because clearly, although Simon may have been estranged from Fallon, he still was a married man. And there have been accusations with Porsha many times over the last years in regards to her being with a married man. Allegedly. The fact that you're sitting there twerking and fine and kiki and laughing and saying that this is just your sense of humor, is it funny when it happens to you?
Yup.
Just asking. Here's the thing, Angela. They are going to be coming for you at the reunion, not just because of what's played out during the season. They're going to be coming after you because now fans are growing and growing for you. People are loving you. I'm not going to say that you're a fan favorite, but right now, this week, you are a fan favorite. And anytime, this is the world of Housewives, unfortunately, and I have a PhD when it comes to analyzing the fan bases and the Housewives in regards to how they react, especially when it's their first time being on reality television or when they get into the allure of being a part of reality television or in the celebrity or the Bravo-lebrity of it all. A lot of these housewives get enamored with this world, and if they see someone else getting the praise and the accolades and being called a fan favorite and everyone's saying every single week, I love Angela, those housewives, no matter if new or old, so the Britt Edie's or the Kellys, they might actually not feel away. But the OGs or the ones that have been there a long time, they're going to feel away because they want to be that person. And I can see Truly Original and the network doing this, putting you by Andy in order to send a message to them. And and they know that message. This is a whole psychological game that they're playing. That message that the network is sending to the rest of the housewives, you better step up. You better do what you need to do. And then you start seeing this pattern of behavior that these women end up doing, and then they go too far. Angela, just be ready. No rehearse reads, but be prepared. Do what you need to do right before. Eat a good meal. Get plenty of rest. Get that fashion together. Make sure you secure one of the best. All right, get that hair glued down. Make sure you got a bedazzled. You saw Lauryn Hill had at the Met Gala. Get you one of those, girl. Get the exact one if it matches the color theme of the year for the reunion. Get you a bedazzled one. And make sure that you stay cool because you will get hot and bothered because they're all going to be coming for you, including Phaedra Parks, because they come for you means that they don't have to talk about what's really going on in their sad, miserable lives.
Well, speak on it.
Guys, as always, I want to know your reaction to all of what's been going on. All of what's been going on since our last recap of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. I want to know your thoughts based off of what Angela has to say, what Shemia has to say, what I've had to say. Let's have this conversation there. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. Thanks for watching.
Here we go now.